Welcome back to Meeting Tanares Adventures. This is the 7th video in our series. Today we'll be covering the last topic, which is the city phase. The Empire is at war. A mysterious species, the Kemet, came from the other side of the ocean to attack the continent. They have successfully conquered the coastal city of Fisherman's Wharf and established a base there. Now, the fate of the Empire and its heroes depends on finding a way to repel these invaders while also taking all precautions to prevent a catastrophic Malrokian curse. Survivors, relatives, and colleagues of Warfers, Iron Hand troops, and many other people set up a camp a few hundred miles east of Fisherman's Wharf, in the growing town of Wharf Eugene. As a hero, you must play an important role in the resistance, help the Iron Hand and others in need, gather intelligence on the Kemet and their plans, amass resources, help the town grow in capabilities and power, and be in the front line of the initiative to take Fisherman's Wharf back. As you might remember from an earlier video, the city phase is the first part of a campaign cycle that occurs before the second part, which is the journey phase. You will complete the city phase 3 times a week for 5 weeks. There will be 2 final city phase events before the end for a total of 17 city phases in a campaign. The city phase acts as a minigame and is expected to only take about 5 minutes to play, but its rewards help your team gain strength through acquiring new items, heroes, war assets, and city structures to propel you forward through the war with the Kemet invaders. City phase components. The city board is where the city phase takes place and is about the same size of a game board. The city board can be broken down into 5 parts. The expeditions can send teams out to gather resources from foreign lands. The open war assets convince other heroes or other characters to join your war effort. The city structures are leveled up to gain new weapons, armor, unlocking new heroes, and improving your war asset deck. The weekly objectives are a way to unlock strong benefits that can only be completed once per week and changes each week. And the war asset and discard pile. This is the deck of heroes and other characters that are working with you to win the war against the Kemet. You cannot have less than 25 cards in this deck. War assets. Looking at the cards more in detail, you'll see that they will have the name and artwork for that character. At the top right, you will see symbols. These indicate the cost of purchasing this character in the open war assets during the city phase. If the card says initial, it means it's part of your starting war asset deck. These symbols are called ability points, and they are the main currency in the city phase. Each symbol represents a specific trait. Symbol hammer, force. Combat technique, vigor, violence or strength, the ability to physically coerce or compel. Symbol hands, diplomacy, the ability to solve situations peacefully and collaboratively. Personal charisma, or the skill of producing convincing arguments, also empathy. Symbol eye, spycraft, the ability to sneak or remain undetected, to obtain information or objects with restricted access or espionage. Symbol book, intelligence, the ability to come up with creative strategies or plans to process and analyze information, general knowledge. Additionally, you may see a week number that tells you what deck this asset is from. Generally, a higher week war asset will be stronger than a lower week number. Additionally, heroes cards will also be part of your war assets, but heroes you use in the last journey phase cannot be used in the current city phase. Finally, the last section is the special ability of that character. Let's look at a few examples. The basic asset example, these usually provide only one kind of ability point. A basic asset with an instant. These cards will provide you one kind of ability point, or you can use the other trait instead. These lightning bolt symbols mean this is an instant ability, which means it can be used on another player's turn. Hero card examples. Hero cards don't usually have any other unique functions other than just providing a lot of ability points to spend. Advanced card example. They may provide multiple kinds of ability points or give you specific special features to use in the city phase. Loot cards. Loot cards are the resources used in the campaign. There are 4 types of resources: crystal, gold, iron, and wood. These resources will be used to upgrade city structures or purchase items. How to play the city phase. Step 1. Set up the board as shown with your owned assets on the location on the left and the weekly objective and weekly unowned city assets to the side. Also, grab a pile of cubes. The color doesn't matter, but they will be used for tracking on the city phase board. Step 2. Draw 3 cards from the unowned city assets and place them in the open war assets location. Step 3. Level up the lowest city structure for free. If all levels are the same, then pick whichever you would like. This is done to symbolize the natural growth of the city. It also provides a way for the players that are struggling with the campaign to not fall behind. Step 4. Regardless of how many players are in the game, draw 4 hands of 4 cards from the asset deck. Step 5. Each hand of the 4 cards has a single turn. This doesn't mean that all cards in the hand need to be played, because cards with instants can be played on other players' turns. The order of play is the player's choice, and all information can be freely communicated and shared. Challenge phase. Spend ability points to gain resources, accomplish objectives, or conquer city assets. You have to pay the full amount in a single card, and any extra ability points are not saved. Example, you cannot assign a card's 3 force to an expedition and a weekly goal at the same time. Here are the 4 types of challenges you can accomplish by spending war asset ability points. Expeditions. Spend action points between the 3 locations for resources: Aramoth, Turtle Point Peninsula, the Anchor. You may spend single or double amount of action points. Once spent, you cannot claim other resources in that location. You will also gain additional resources for each 3 resources gained. In total, you could claim up to 8 resources in expeditions. Purchase open war assets. Spend the amount of ability points of each asset to conquer it. If you conquer all 3, then you get 1 bonus resource. City structures. Spend ability points to gain resources in each of the 4 city structures. This can be done a number of times equal to the max level shown on the city structure card. Weekly objectives. Spend ability points on 1 objective that will be completed at the end of the week and not during the collection phase. Make sure to mark the letter on your quest log. Step 6. Collection phase. Go through each of the previously mentioned parts and collect rewards. Expedition. Each cube represents 1 loot card. Be sure to get any bonus loot if you met the condition. Open war assets. Move any purchase assets to your discard pile to be used in the next city phase. Draw any extra loot if you got all 3. City structures. You may choose to spend your cubes in 4 different ways. 1. Convert 2 cubes to 1 resource of the marked type. 2. Spend at least 1 cube to make 2 weapons or armor available to purchase for this city phase. The cards are drawn randomly from the level that matches the city structure. Then you must pay the loot resources to purchase those items that are now available. 3. Spend a cube and resources to upgrade the city structure. If you upgrade, the effects are immediately applied. For example, if you upgrade the Natural Lab, you made ranged weapons available to purchase. You can purchase higher level weapons immediately. 4. Spend cubes and/or resources to resolve the city structure's special effect. For example, Iron Hand Outpost. Spend 2 cubes to remove 2 cards from your asset deck. Weekly objective. Claim the reward only if it's the end of the week. Any unused resources cubes are lost and cannot be used in the next city phase. One last thing to note about city structures is that you will see a notation of 2 class symbols next to 0011. This relates to the 4 primary attack cards whose classes can use. For example, with the level 1 weapon shop, the Brute and Shooter can use 2 level 0 primaries and 2 level 1 primary cards. If we upgrade to level 2 weapon shop, we can now use 3 level 1 primaries and 1 level 0 primary. That's it for the city phase, and that also concludes the 7-part Learn to Play for Tanares Adventures. The next video will be our live stream session, teaching how all of these parts come together to give you the full Tanares Adventures experience. Some rules were omitted from this video series and may have changed by the time you receive your game, so be sure to review the rulebook for the official rulings. A special thanks to Michael Alves for helping to correct and refine this series as I put it together, and also many thanks to Wantuan, a community member who has helped to edit and polish this wonderful series. We hope you'll be able to use this as a reference in getting your own adventures off to a quicker and more informed start. We'll see you at the next one.